What do you say we take a step back to the old neighborhood? If you remember the old neighborhood, you knew the best joints with the best food. The corner bar with that great burger. Ribs at the barbecue joint. Every neighborhood had that one pizza joint down the street that had the best pizza ever. You want a good plate of spaghetti and meatballs? Or some linguine with clams? You knew just the place to go. There was even that one place up the road that had the real chef, the white tablecloths and fancy menu place. But even that was in the neighborhood, so that was where you went for special occasions. I grew up in one of those old neighborhood joints and worked in a few more. Let me take you back. I'll show you some real food made with real friends and enjoyed with real friends. This is Old Neighborhood Cooking.
Hi, and welcome to episode 2 of Old Neighborhood Cooking. Today I'm going to make an Italian breaded veal with an Ammoghio sauce, which is a cold tomato sauce with garlic, olive oil, oregano, and it's used, I think it's primarily a Sicilian style sauce that's used on meats. It's used quite often with breaded veal or with a breaded steak, Sicilian style steak. You'll find that they use Ammoghio. I've heard it pronounced Ammoghio. I've heard it pronounced Ammoghio. When we were kids, we just called it Mojo. So the first thing I'm going to do is I've got 14.5 ounces of diced tomatoes. I'm going to start with diced tomatoes, just pour them into a bowl. And the next thing I'm going to do is add the garlic. I've got a large clove of garlic. And you can use garlic powder, or you can use garlic that's already chopped and in a jar, and you're not going to get the same taste because there's nothing to replace actual fresh crushed garlic. Those others are okay, but they're not authentic. You won't get the real taste. When you're working with fresh garlic, if you take a clove like this and you crush it with a knife like that, you'll find that you can get it out of the skin easier. Now I've got the whole clove of garlic with all the, well, there's a little bit left with all the covering off of it. I've got a real nice garlic press, and you can get these in most stores. The nicer ones, you can go to the Italian stores and find them. But this one comes apart. It's easy to clean because once the garlic gets crushed, it gets in there. It's hard to clean it unless you can take this apart. But you put the garlic in there, and you just crush it. There's your fresh garlic coming right out there. Next thing I'm going to do, and there is no particular order for this recipe, it's just got to all get mixed together. I'm going to add some olive oil. This is just regular olive oil, it's not extra virgin, although you could use extra virgin. Olive oil, I'm going to put in some oregano. And I'm going to put in some salt and pepper. Now, the Ammoghio, you want to mix it up at least a couple of hours before you're going to prepare the veal, because you want it the flavors to mix and blend. You can do it even up to perhaps a day, 24 hours ahead of time, and you'll find that really the longer you do it, up to a point, it's just going to get more and more flavorful. I'm going to add a little more oregano to this. Just looking at it, I can see it needs a little more. And then that's what it'll look like. It's just the tomatoes, garlic, olive oil, salt and pepper, oregano. and then you let that sit for a couple hours before you have your meal. Now we're going to do the veal, the breaded veal. We call it Italian breaded veal because we're using Italian style breadcrumbs, which are much more seasoned than regular breadcrumbs. Now these breadcrumbs I did buy at the store, at Vince and Joe's actually, on 25 Mile and Van Dyke, at an Italian store. There's a lot of Italian stores in the Detroit area, Ammoghio's, Vince and Joe's, Randazzo's, and they all have the seasoned Italian breadcrumbs. I'm going to I added a little more garlic to them, and actually I'm going to add a little more Parmesan cheese to them. This is Reggiano Parmesan cheese, sometimes called the king of cheeses. Just to give you an idea, this stuff goes for about $24 a pound. You don't want to waste it. Even to put it in breading, sometimes people might be critical of me by putting it into breading. It's excellent when you put it on your spaghetti or on your salads. We're going to use it in the breading today. We got the veal. I also got that at Vince and Joe's. They're veal cutlets. Different from veal scallopini. Veal scallopini is much thinner and will cook very quickly, the veal scallopini, if you try and bread it. The veal cutlets are a little thicker, so you've got a little more time to cook them, and they're a little more tender because they're not cooked right all through like a scallopini would be. I've got just regular flour here. I've got eggs and milk as an egg bath. Then they'll go into the breadcrumbs. The veal will go into the breadcrumbs. My olive oil is hot and ready on the stove. So this gets a little messy, and you'll notice I had a sweatshirt on earlier when I was making the Ammoghio. Well, it gets a little warm in the kitchen, so I had to take the sweatshirt off. But this gets a little messy, but you use your fingers in the flour first. Make sure it gets all coated with flour. In the egg bath, in the breadcrumbs. And make sure you get the breadcrumbs all over this, into where the egg is, where the egg will just make those breadcrumbs stick right to it. There's the cutlet with the breadcrumbs. Okay, the veal has been cooking now for about 3 minutes. It's ready to flip. It should be golden brown on one side. You want to flip it away from you so the grease that splatters goes away from you. There they are, just beautiful looking. Give them about another 3 minutes on this side, and then they're ready to put them on the plate and serve them. We're going to do the same thing with all 8 of the veal cutlets that I have. Well, now for the best part of doing all that cooking, and that is the eating. The veal is done. We've got a salad to go with it and some pasta with some homemade tomato sauce. Mangia, mangia.
Mangia, mangia.
And welcome to another episode of Old Neighborhood Cooking.
Cendano, boys.
Just because she is so nice, Angelina. Angelina, the waitress at the pizzeria. I super minestrone just to be with her alone, Angelina. Angelina, the waitress at the pizzeria. because she is so nice. I just ain't.
You're watching KPBP, your streaming video channel in the Midwest.
Old Neighborhood Cooking is a production of KPBP TV, Midwest Stream TV. Old Neighborhood Cooking is brought to you by Doc's Drugstore. Old-fashioned fun in a nostalgic atmosphere. Captain Hank's Fine Seafoods. Fresh from the Great Lakes, Captain Hank's. Cups. Your ideas brought to life. Think cups when you think cups. Knives Are Us. When you're the sharpest knife in the kit, you're it. Diver Dave's Deep Dive Charters. If it's getting deep, it must be Dave. Tommy Gunn's Adventure Vacations. Corporate team building, reunions, or retreats. Your adventure awaits. Old Neighborhood Cooking is made possible by a grant from the GFP Relax Foundation and viewers like you.
You're watching KPBP, your streaming video channel in the Midwest. Bradford Place Retirement Community is a proud sponsor of Old Neighborhood Cooking on PBS. You're watching KPBP, your streaming video channel in the Midwest. Wake up with Qigong, weekdays on KPBP.